Welcome to the Garth Riley Show. This segment I'm going to call Against All Odds. People that I've met over time that have constantly impressed me when no matter how unsurmountable the task looked, that they figured they could do something with this insurmountable idea. Joining me in studio today is Danish Ahmed, who, well, I can tell you that for every reason in the book that you could probably have a reason to fail, he had it. And I welcome you to the studio. I mean, honestly, it's been a pleasure to be a friend of yours over the years, and you are a guy that's against all odds.
Thank you, Garth. It's my pleasure to be here.
Pakistani, albino Pakistani, blind, growing up in one of the toughest areas of Toronto. How many more strikes could you... There's 4 strikes, you had them.
Yeah, and I have more if you want to go on.
Go ahead.
Sexual abuse, physical abuse, poverty, bullying, antidepressants, psychiatry, suicide.
Okay. Now...
We don't want to overwhelm people, though.
No, but it's against all odds. So here it is. It's a real life thing. Mm-hmm. What I want you to talk about and share with the people here is, where did you go with all this? You could have gone, well, you could be dead.
Yeah.
Number one. But you decided that wasn't what it had to be. What did you actually end up doing with your life? Because it's pretty marvelous. Mm-hmm. Motivational speaker, developer of software. Talk about it.
Great. Well, it wasn't instantaneous that I was headed on the right path. I was headed on the wrong path for much of my life. When I was depressed, when I was seeing a psychiatrist, I was trying to do things, but none of them were working. And so I just was going downhill, feeling worse and worse and worse, and even more frustrated because I was putting effort into trying to make a difference. And that effort was backfiring. So it made me feel even worse.
Right.
And something in me just didn't want to give up, even though nothing was working, because the alternative was worse. See, on the one hand, we can look at it and say, I succeeded against all odds. But the way I look at it was I had no other option. I wasn't going to have a life where I gave up and lived in misery. And I'd rather live in active misery than passive misery.
Someone said to me, it's kind of, if I'm going to fail, I'd rather fail spectacularly.
I'd rather die trying than never have lived at all.
But let's face it, man, you're in Regent Park. Tough area. Mm-hmm. You know, not only that, ethnically diverse, and you were a prime target. Mm-hmm. I mean, if there was a kick a ginger day, there could have been a kick albino day, right?
Yeah.
You know, and a kick a blind albino.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, think about this. I mean, it's to me, I've not met many people that have had this such distraction that became the attraction.
And I never saw what was coming.
Yeah, because you're blind. Yeah, exactly. Which is the funny part, because we sent somebody to pick you up today, and I said to you, you know, where are you? And I said, describe where you are. Tell me what you see around you. And I realized I'm talking to a guy, because you can only see how far in front of your face.
About this far. I can't even see you right now.
Right. Yeah. So it's okay.
You're attractive, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you ended up doing. So, you know, you got through school, pretty harsh tour.
Yeah. Well, I think my transformation happened in high school because I was lucky enough that although I was living in Regent Park, I was staying up late until like 4 o'clock in the morning. And lucky for me, at 4 o'clock in the morning, there were infomercials all about changing your life. And I was naive enough to think, maybe this is possible. And so I didn't have any money, so I embezzled some money from an organization I was treasurer of to order these tapes to see if they would actually really work. And I started listening to them, and I was blown away because everything they were telling me on these tapes was opposite to what the education system, what my friends, what the media was telling me. And that was the shift that happened for me, is realizing, wow, there's this whole other body of knowledge, information, wisdom out there that is contrary to traditional knowledge and wisdom.
So now, what do you do with it next? Now you feel this way, you start to get this new teaching and training, you have to take action. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, before we move into the action, and I think this is an interesting point, because things like The Secret and this whole movement towards personal development has given people a polarized way of looking. So sometimes they think, all I do is think and consciousness and visualize, and that will change my life. Or sometimes they think, all you got to do is take action,
okay.
and that will change my life.
All right.
And And the interesting thing is that both of them are integrated with one another. So you can't isolate them. If all you do is you take action, nothing's going to work.
So then tell me about your integration.
So the integration is constantly learning and taking action at the same time. Expanding your consciousness, trying it. Expanding your consciousness, trying something.
Okay, but I'm going to stop you here. Because there are people saying, I'm doing this, but I don't see any return. You came from this background of where there was really no evidence that this should work at all. You weren't living in a culture that even honored the fact that that you should be trying this. When was your first taste that this integration actually was working? That maybe you're feeling better, but when did you get some of the meat and potatoes? When did you go?
Well, you gave the secret. You said you were feeling better. To me, that is the meat and potatoes. See, and that's why people don't look at motivation in not such a great way. They think it's not enough. Now, ultimately, it's not enough, but it's the most important step. And if you're not feeling good, nothing else matters. You can be having results in your life, but if you're not feeling good, you don't have the juice of life. What's the point?
Okay, so let me take it back to you. Against all odds being the idea. So now you start to feel good.
Right.
You're feeling good.
Right.
What happens next for you?
What happens next is that you enjoy the feeling good.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. And
in spite of what everything was evident, you started to feel good.
Yeah, exactly. So what was happening is I was in high school, and most of the day I wasn't feeling good. But when I would put a tape on and listen to it, I would feel good.
Right.
And I thought to myself, whether I'm applying the stuff I'm learning or not, when I listen to this, I feel good.
Okay.
So let me listen to it more.
Okay.
And let me listen to it more. And what happens as you listen to it more and more and more, not only do you feel better and you feel good more often, but then it starts going into your subconscious mind.
Okay, so let me take it back to your life. Because I want to now, so that you started to feel good, started to feel better about yourself, you still had to, people really don't care how you're feeling. Honestly. Most people don't care how you're feeling.
They don't care how you're feeling, but energetically they get how you're feeling.
Okay, so then against all odds, you still had to go and now take action. You now have to get employed somewhere.
Yeah.
What do you do? What did you do? What did you find out to do? What did you create?
Well,
employment-wise, because you had to go get a gig.
Absolutely, and it was tough. When you can't see the street signs, just getting to an interview is a challenge. Can't see numbers on doors, so I'm going to the wrong places, or the bus is letting me off at the wrong stop. So just getting to a location was very, very difficult. Now, what do you do? What you do is you realize that there's no magic formula. There's nothing that's going to get me to the right location at the right time all the time perfectly. And so what you do is you accept that challenge. What you do is you say, you know what, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to miss some appointments. I'm going to be upset. People are going to make judgments about me, and that's my life.
It's called how it is.
It's how it is.
Right, okay. So then what happened for you as we kind of wind down this segment here is I want to sort of go back to some of your immediate successes. In the early, the .com area, you actually ended up having a very successful operation. You created a business.
Yes.
And then you now have a motivational speaking series, Ordinary Words, and you're well known across the internet. Nothing's really held you back. But you ended up becoming very successful at something that was emerging. Again, against all odds, because it was brand new emerging market. Just tell me a little bit about that internet or that .com thing you got involved with. Now, it eventually didn't pan out like most of them did, but you got started and you were in that genre for a while.
Yeah, it was very exciting, and I was passionate about technology, and then being motivated through personal development and transformation, I said, do what you love, capitalize on what you love, and when you do what you love, you feel good and you attract people who want to support you, and then the results come. So I was committed to that. Now, it wasn't easy, but one of the principles I've learned in transformation and personal development is not that you know the right strategy, but is that when something doesn't work, you don't stop. And so you try things and you don't work, and then you take a different approach, or that you get different coaching, or you find a different mentor. But you never stop moving towards what you've envisioned.
Probably we'll leave that there because against all odds really is the odds are being weighed. And in this case, you just found a way to keep shifting and redirecting and repackaging and accepting that as the next step versus the next roadblock.
Right. And it never stops. I'm still doing that.
Yeah. In fact, picking you up today, you could have crowned me for not getting there on time. Anyways, there's a good opportunity to speak with Danish Ahmed. You watch the Garth Riley Show, and we'll be back with more in the next episode.